When I go hiking with my kids, I always have my backpack, which has my first aid kit in it. For years, I carried around a first aid kit which had all sorts of things in it that I never used. So join us as we share the top things that need to be in your first aid kit if you are hiking with kids, and the top 4 things that you might not have thought of to pack in that first aid kit. So here is the list of our top things that we like to pack. Let's start with the obvious. Band-Aids, all sorts of shapes and sizes. Antiseptic wipes, antibiotic cream, gauze, butterfly stitches. Some prefer medical superglue, but we just use butterfly stitches. Packets of different medicines such as Advil, ibuprofen, and anti-nausea medicine. Anti-itch cream, tweezers, a multi-tool with a knife and small scissors, latex gloves, tape, Zanfil. This is fast-acting medicine for poison ivy. So you wouldn't need this if you were just going on a day hike. However, if you are going on a multi-day camping trip, you may get exposed to poison ivy toward the beginning of the trip, and it may become apparent toward the end. So I like to have this for my multi-day camping trips, just in case someone is exposed to poison ivy. A survival blanket. This may seem a little much, but hypothermia can easily happen, especially if you are around the water in early spring or late in the fall. Now, those were all the obvious ones, but here are the top 4 things that we use often in our first aid kit that are easily overlooked. Sting swabs. These are lifesavers. When we were hiking just last year, my daughter was stung by a wasp twice, and I thought for sure our adventure was over. But we used this sting swabs. It took the sting right out of it, and she was back to hiking in no time. It definitely saved the day. Burn cream. Now, I use this more often than I care to admit. I'm a big fan of just encouraging kids to help build the fire and help with all of the camping activities. And so it isn't uncommon for them to get a slight burn. And it is nice to be able to take the sting right out of that so they aren't worrying or complaining about the burn the rest of the trip. An instant cold pack. Now, this does seem obvious, but so many times I'll use the cold pack and then I'll forget to replace it in my first aid kit with a new one. So make sure every time before you leave on your adventure, you have an instant cold pack in your pack just in case someone gets a bump or a bruise. Eye drops. This is one that's so easily overlooked because it's not often in first aid kits. But so many times when we're out on adventures, my kids will get something in their eye, or they'll even get a wound and you need to flush it out with something clean. So eye drops are awesome to have in your first aid kit. We hope these tips are helpful for things that you may want to pack in your first aid kit as you are out adventuring with kids. We hope that this helps create an outdoor adventure made easy.